Hello, hi, and welcome to this episode of the Mandy Meyer Podcast. As per usual, this is the podcast where we chat all about your health, your fitness, your fat loss goals, and just everything else that goes with creating a healthier lifestyle. Before we move on with today's episode, can I ask a massive favor, please? If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple, can you drop a rating or a review? Can your finger have a little bit of a slip towards the 5-star review button? And if you're feeling very generous, there is a place on Apple Podcasts where you can leave a written review. The only reason I ask for this favor is because when people are searching through the podcast and they read through the reviews before they decide if they're going to listen or not. And like I said, the goal with this podcast is always to try and reach as much people as possible. And I can only do that with your help. But again, from my side, as per usual, thank you so much just for showing up with every single episode that I do put out there and actually listen to it. That already means so much to me. So thank you. Let's get into today's episode of this podcast. Stop overthinking it. That is my short message for today. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, whether it's your food choices, whether you're deciding what exercise to do, whatever it is, stop overthinking it. The reason I say that is because the other day I caught myself sitting and thinking, I'm like, what is the best way to execute X, Y, and Z? And it wasn't necessarily about my health and fat loss expedition, but it was about my business and something that I'm working on. And I started realizing the more I'm sitting and overthinking this bloody thing, the more I'm not actioning anything, right? So again, when you're overthinking something, what often happens is you're looking for that perfect way of executing it. And because you're looking for that perfect way or perfect time of executing something, oftentimes you're not executing anything because it feels like it's not the perfect plan for execution. So I was sitting there and I'm like, cool, I've built this backdrop. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the backdrop that I have built, okay? I have not built this backdrop specifically for these YouTube videos or these YouTube podcasts. I've built it for something else. And before I even started recording any of these videos for the new project that I'm working on, which the backdrop is for, I was like, oh, is that plant in the perfect position? I'm like, is that light in the perfect position? What am I going to wear when I'm recording these videos? Am I going to wear this hoodie? And I'm like, Mandy, just stop overthinking it. You literally have not even recorded one video yet. You've wasted 5 weeks on minor little details that are actually not going to make a difference. And in those 5 weeks, I could have been actioning actual work. I know a lot of people out there, maybe you included, are exactly the same. You have that same mindset of, oh, there has to be a specific way of doing things or else you're not going to do it. Now, when it comes to your health and fat loss expedition, I'm going to be very honest with you. There's no perfect way of doing it, okay? When you are searching for the perfect way of doing it, you're just stopping yourself from actually starting, or you're stopping yourself from doing, okay? So when it comes to things like steps or food choices, don't overthink it. And what I mean by that is don't overthink the exact amount of steps that you have to get per day. Don't overthink the exact amount of macronutrient split that you have to get per day. And I use all these words loosely, like have to, right? There's no specific way of doing it. There's no one best way of doing it. The best way of doing it, the optimal way of doing it is what is best for you. If you've read somewhere that 10,000 steps per day is optimal for fat loss, but you can't, or you're not yet at the point of getting 10,000 steps per day, don't not do the steps because now you're overthinking. You're like, well, if I can't get 10,000 steps per day, what's the point of getting 10,000 steps per day? Because 10,000 steps per day is optimal for fat loss. No, get what you can get. Put those shoes on and walk up and down. If you get 5,000 steps for that day, and that's your current amount of steps that you're getting per day, boom, set that as a benchmark. And then continue working on gradually increasing those steps. But again, don't overthink it. Don't overthink, oh, is this the perfect amount of carbohydrates on my plate? Or is this the perfect amount of fats for the day? Just start doing. The more you start doing, the more you'll get into a routine and a rhythm. And then you'll be like, okay, maybe you can look at changing this. It's the same with the videos that I started recording. I was just so annoyed with myself at one point. I'm like, okay, Mandy, you just have to record one video. Like, don't even worry about where that bloody pot plant is within this video. Just record the video. And the moment I got around to recording that first video, it just sailed. It just went smoothly. It's like, boom, here we go, here we go. And as of today, I'm already sitting at 45 videos that I have recorded. Why? Because I just stopped overthinking it. I was like, just action that first bloody video. And that's the same with you. Just action that first thing. Like, literally, don't overthink it. Don't look for the perfect way of doing it. The more videos I started recording, the more, like I said, I got into the swing of things. And then I was like, okay, maybe let's do this now. Maybe let's do that now. Okay. You can only be tweaking the plan if you have started executing the plan, because otherwise, how are you going to have the knowledge to know what to tweak? So I think my message for today is very much clear, and it's based on my own personal experience. Stop faffing around and start doing. There is no perfect anything. There's no perfect spot to measure your body for the measurements. There's no perfect time of the day to exercise. There's no perfect macronutrient split. There's no perfect amount of steps that you have to be smashing every single day. Because if you're going to set your goals based on your idea of perfect or the internet's idea of perfect, you are setting yourself up for not even starting. So again, let's stop faffing around. I say that with a big smile on my face, and let's start doing. Start small. Don't be scared to start small. Don't be scared to make little mistakes. That is where you learn. That is where you get the knowledge to tweak the plan as you move forward. And that is where progress takes place. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you guys like I usually do. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep being kind to one another. Much love, your friend who also likes faffing around, Mandy.